A abrupt emergency, We Are Wrestling.
I think there's a lot of issues with that company.
They're going all in for these documentaries.
I want to be champion. I want to be the one to carry that flag.
Hate being a wrestling fan and love being a wrestling fan sometimes, but realize we're all just selfish pricks.
It's business.
So when guys start getting released and stuff, I got questions that need to be asked.
We are Wrestling Extra.
What is up? We are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide. I'm the host with the most, Mr. We Are Wrestling himself, the best one, Donnie, here on a late Monday night with some We Are Wrestling podcast extras. We got lots of wrestling news to cover. Hope you guys enjoyed Monday Night Raw. I just got done watching it, and the reactions will be coming out tomorrow. If you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already and you're listening to this extra wherever you get your podcast, give us a 5-star review, not just any review, a best one review, and download the episode and give us a follow. But if you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already, over on the YouTube channel where you get the best pro wrestling content and you're not a part of the thousands of subscribers, we recommend you to hit that subscribe button now, turn on the post notifications. Videos be coming out of nowhere like an RKO, and of course you already know the grind is real. And before we get into the wrestling news on this extra, just want to let you guys know that it's Rumble week, so we got lots of awesome content lined up for you guys. And tonight we got the extra. Tomorrow, Monday Night Raw reactions will be coming out. Wednesday, we'll be having a live episode of the We Are Wrestling podcast, and we'll be doing the Royal Rumble predictions in that live episode. Then on Thursday, we will be having our Royal Rumble pool. Cam and I, we are going to make our predictions on the men's and the women's Rumble 1 to 30. And whoever has the better pool will win, and then the loser will be doing a forfeit. Then on Friday, we'll be doing the We Are Wrestling Fan Royal Rumble number drawings. So in case you guys aren't following We Are Wrestling over on Instagram, Facebook, and X, recommend you guys to go do that, because we are picking 30 of the ultimate We Are Wrestling Maniacs to be a part of this contest. And the winner will be winning some We Are Wrestling merchandise, and we're also going to be giving away some figures as well. So there's going to be 2 winners, but we're only picking 30 people, and there's only going to be 2 winners out of that. Then on Saturday, of course, we'll be having our WWE Royal Rumble live watch-along. Everybody's going to be coming over to the studio. If you've never been a part of a live watch-along for We Are Wrestling, Saturday, I highly recommend joining the Royal Rumble watch-along. In my opinion, that is the best live stream, is Royal Rumble. So we will be doing a stream on Saturday, but we got awesome content all lined up all week long. And we're starting off today with some extra news, because normally we cover news on the We Are Wrestling podcast, but we're going to be doing Royal Rumble predictions instead this week. So with that being said, let's get into the news. Starting things off here, according to WrestleVotes, there's a significant discussions regarding Nikki Bella's return to WWE. There's a strong expectation from multiple WWE sources that it will happen sooner rather than later. And my thoughts on Nikki Bella coming back to WWE, I've always been a fan of her work. I think that she's great. And especially right now, with WWE's women's division being so stacked on Raw, SmackDown, and especially NXT, I think that they could use the star power in Nikki Bella. And she did get a massive reaction when she was in the crowd during the Raw on Netflix premiere. And especially now, bringing in the WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship and United States title, having an established star like Nikki Bella, I think, could really get some more eyes on some of the people that don't have that connection with the WWE Universe. And I think, man, it would be perfect if Brie Bella was interested in coming back, because I would love to see the Bellas have a shot at the tag team championships, and I think that that could really elevate their division. Because that's like one thing I will say is the Raw tag division and the women's tag division is just very weak right now, and I think having the Bellas, that could really make that women's tag division pretty strong. But honestly, I'm very excited to see Nikki come back. I hope this is true. And I think that she could really benefit working with girls like Chelsea Green, Lila Valkyria, Michin. Like, I could see her working with some of these women that WWE is trying to establish into stars. So honestly, I am all for Nikki coming back. Moving on now to our next extra here. According to WrestleVotes, Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, and Tonga Loa will no longer be referred to as the Bloodline. So, I already knew that this was going to be happening because once Solo Sikoa lost that Ula Fala to Roman Reigns on the Raw Netflix premiere, they have to go in a new direction with this group. And I will say, I'm very interested in seeing what's going to happen here with this new Bloodline. And right now, unfortunately, Tonga Loa, he's still dealing with injuries, so he's out of action. But Jacob Fatu, it looks like they're really going to be putting the rocket on him. And I'm very excited to see like how far he goes in his WWE career, because let me tell you this. Saturday night main event, Jacob Fatu looked like a main event star, and I will not be surprised within the next couple of years if this man is main eventing WrestleMania. I think if there's anybody in the Roman Reigns' family who's next, it's got to be Jacob Fatu. But I want to know, how are they going to get him to that next level? Because I've been saying it for a while here on We Are Wrestling. I think Solo Sikoa should win the United States Championship or even Intercontinental. Hold the title for a little bit while, have Jacob Fatu still doing the whole I love you Solo, and then let the power get to him, similar to Roman Reigns with his 1,000-day championship run. Have that power get to Solo's head, start to take Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga for granted, and then at the right time, give Jacob Fatu versus Solo Sikoa during one of the big 4 WWE PLE matches for either the Intercontinental or United States Championship. And right there, Jacob Fatu wins, and you got yourself a massive star to build this company around. But then again, maybe next year's Royal Rumble, Jacob Fatu could win that and go off to WrestleMania and get his big moment before we even know it. So I'm very curious to see what's going to happen here and how long this new faction with the new name is going to last. I could see Tama and Tonga staying with Solo Sikoa for a while, but at some point, they're going to have to take the leash off of Jacob Fatu and just run with it. But honestly, like with Triple H, he believes in long-term storytelling, and I think in this situation, it works. And I feel like Solo Sikoa cannot turn on Jacob Fatu or vice versa anytime soon. We gotta keep this storyline intact, because I think a Solo Sikoa versus Jacob Fatu match could be a great WrestleMania match. Maybe not this year, but long term. But I am very excited to see what's gonna happen there. Moving on now to our next extra. According to PW Insider, there's been lots of talks about Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez getting a big push as a tag team leading into WrestleMania. This news doesn't really shock me. Liv Morgan, she lost to Rhea on the Raw Netflix premiere, and I was thinking, what's Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley going to do next? Because the two have been feuding for years. And with Rhea Ripley being champion, you can't have her and Liv continue to go against each other over and over and over again. Even though that would have made a good WrestleMania match, you need to find new opponents for them, because it's been going on way too long, and then the injuries added a lot of time to that, and the fans just want to move on from Liv versus Rhea. So I think Liv Morgan and Raquel being in the tag division, honestly, that brings some star power to it. And if it's going to lead to Liv Morgan and Raquel getting a tag team title opportunity at WrestleMania, then I'm all for this because I do feel like every championship needs to be defended on the biggest stage of them all. And right now, like, the women's tag division is just very stagnant right now. And they do have great tag teams. I believe right now, Bianca and Naomi are the tag champs. Unless I'm wrong, because it's been very hard to keep track of who's champion and who's not when it comes to the women tag, because I'm more invested in the other titles right now. I think that giving the tag titles to Liv and Raquel is definitely a good move, because we should build that chemistry there between the two, and then at the right time have Raquel turn on Liv, and you can make Raquel into a big star out of that. But I think right now we do need more time with them together to really build that. And I think what better way than to actually give them the tag team championships and let them go on a tag run. Because I think that right now the women's division is so stacked that, man, like right now Liv Morgan is not really losing anything teaming with Raquel. If anything, that's a good thing to keep her on WWE television. And without her losing that star power. Because a lot of the times when somebody is going for, like, the Women's World Championship time after time, a lot of us fans, we're sick of it. And we need a break. And that's why I think WWE decided to have Bianca Belair team with Jade Cargill, because it gave her time away from competing for the championship, having the same matches over and over again. And I think that that's what I'm frustrated about when it comes to Bayley. I don't want her to continue to go after the title over and over and over again. Becky Lynch finally left for a little bit, so when she comes back, it's not going to feel like it's forced down her throats, her going for a championship. So honestly, I am all for these two teaming right now until we give it some more time to get Liv back into the world title picture. And I think her going into the tag is not a downgrade at all. Moving on to our next extra here. Speaking of TNA Wrestling, they have re-signed Frankie Kazarian. And I will say, I think that this is a great move. I know TNA has been re-signing people, bringing in new wrestlers to the company, and even some of the people that have been on their roster, they have been trying to get pay cuts out of them, which led to Rhino and PCO not coming back to TNA Wrestling. And I've already given my thoughts on, like, PCO last week on the live episode of the We Are Wrestling podcast. So I will say this about Frankie Kazarian, absolutely deserves to be re-signed. I think that he's been a huge addition to this new revived TNA Wrestling. He's a day one, he's a veteran, and he's somebody in the locker room that a lot of these young stars do look up to. So them bringing back Frankie Kazarian, I am not surprised whatsoever. And I really hope, especially with this WWE crossover with TNA, I do want to see Frankie Kazarian do some stuff in WWE, because out of all these TNA originals getting opportunities in WWE, Frankie Kazarian never signed with them. So I hope that he does get a couple opportunities. I know he was in like a Battle Royal not that long ago, last year, so I do hope that we get to see him a little bit more in NXT. But him re-signing, I do like that move, and I could see him winning the TNA title eventually this year. Moving on to our next extra, Sting has announced that he'll no longer be doing conventions and events in full gear after 2025. So before this news actually came out, because I do go to conventions a lot, one of them is Rhode Island Comic-Con, and they kind of leaked this before Sting actually made this post, saying that this is going to be Sting's last appearance in New England. And I'm hoping Big Event New York is not on the same day as Rhode Island Comic-Con, because I think I am going to be meeting Sting one final time. I met him multiple times already, got to meet him at Heroes Hideout back in 2021, and last year at Big Time Wrestling. So I do think I might make the trip out to Rhode Island to meet him, but I don't think that he's going to be done doing conventions. I think what he's saying in his post is he's done wearing the war paint. So going into conventions as Sting, I think, is what he's trying to refer to. And I think that he's going to be going to events as Steve, the guy who played Sting. But if you do want to meet Sting, now is the time in 2025, because after this year, we don't know what's going to happen with him. And if you want a photo with him with the face paint, you have to meet him in 2025. And from meeting him, like, multiple times, very nice guy. Somebody that I do highly recommend getting the opportunity to meet. Legend in this business. Moving on now to some WWE 2K news. Yeah, 2K. I do not play that at all. The Undertaker takes center stage in WWE 2K25 Dead Man Edition reveal. And I will say, I think that this is pretty badass, but I am not going to let WWE 2K suck me into this game. And a lot of you guys ask me why I don't make WWE 2K content, and that's because, like, I cannot get into any of these games. I've tried multiple WWE 2Ks, and they're just not the same. I miss the THQ WWE games, going all the way back to Shut Your Mouth, SmackDown vs. Raw, Just Bring It, Here Comes the Pain. Like, I miss those games, and, like, these 2K ones just really don't give me that same excitement that I had. But I will say, this Dead Man Edition, brilliant marketing on WWE, and I think that this will sell very well. And who knows, maybe you guys, if this gets a lot of likes or something, maybe I'll get the game, and we could do a live stream here. Maybe. We'll see. Maybe I'll give it a shot. It's been a couple 2K since I have tried. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens there. Let me know if you guys want to see gaming content on here. But, moving on to our next extra here, we got some Royal Rumble news, which I'm sure we're going to be getting a lot of this throughout the week. Probably even on the predictions, I'm going to have to cover some of the Rumble news that comes out. According to PW Insider, WWE officials are hopeful that AJ Styles will be cleared and be able to return to the Royal Rumble this Saturday in Indianapolis. I hope that this happens, man. AJ Styles, I thought that, like, in this Triple H era, AJ Styles is going to be one of the big stars in this era, but unfortunately, he's been dealing with injuries, and just WWE Creative doesn't really have a lot for him. I actually enjoyed the little feud that him and Cody Rhodes did before the summer of 2024, and I do hope that he does show up in the Rumble, because let me tell you, right now, this Rumble is fucking stacked. So honestly, I really, really hope that this is true, because this will just add to that stacked list. Because I don't want any layups in this year's Royal Rumble, alright? I don't care if we get surprises. I just want big names. I want this to be like the 1992 basketball dream team here. And I think that this Rumble has the potential of being one of the greatest Rumbles of all time assembled. So I really do hope that AJ is cleared and does come back, because AJ Styles is a massive addition to WWE and could really put over a lot of these young stars as well. And with the TNA partnership, we need AJ Styles to show up there. Like, we need that to happen ASAP. Moving on now to some AEW news. We're going all over the place, man. And that's what happens with the extras. According to Fightful, Tony Khan is set to have been more in the weeds creatively as of late. Those within AEW were pumped for Saturday's Collision Homecoming show, which they felt did really well. And I will say this, man, I was impressed. I thought that the Homecoming show was great. I did watch the highlights to it. I didn't watch it live on Saturday or main event because I actually was out in New York City, went to Brooklyn, Vince Carter's retirement jersey ceremony, so I did not watch any wrestling this weekend at all. I was away from the computer. I was outside. But, seeing what happened, like, I'm so mad that, like, I already watched the Tony Storm segment, because if I didn't watch that, oh, that would have been such a good reaction. That was incredible. But, man, I thought Homecoming was great. I feel like anytime AEW does go to Daly's place, it's always a good thing for the company. It feels like the morales get back up, and they start to pick up a lot of momentum when they're doing shows there. That's AEW's home. Like WWE's home is Madison Square Gardens. When it comes to AEW, Daly's place is their go-to, and I think they need to go there more often. I think that that could really benefit the promotion a lot. It seems like they really do good over there. And, like, even in TNA, 2005 to 2009, they were in Universal Studios, and that was their home. and they had such a unique environment, similar to Daly's Place with AEW. So I really hope that going into 2025, we get more Daly's Place shows, because I think that that could really help the company out overall. And it seems like more people pay attention to what AEW is doing during this. And I will say I wish the Tony Storm thing did happen on Dynamite, where there is more eyes, because right now, let me tell you, because I do watch highlights and stuff of Collision. I know I don't really cover it here on the We Are Wrestling channel, but I think the storylines on Collision are better than Dynamite. So I don't understand why, like, some of those horrible Dynamite storylines just go over to friggin' Collision, where there's less viewers. And some of the storylines in Collision go over to Dynamite, where it could just catch more eyes. Because that's one thing with AEW they don't do a good job with, is keeping everybody, like, up to date with what happens. And I hope that they do that this Wednesday on Dynamite, because that episode of Collision was really good, especially Timeless Tony Storm, which if you guys haven't seen that segment, you gotta go back and watch that. And finally, our main event, We Are Wrestling Podcast, Extra Topic. This news just came in. According to Fightful, Jordynne Grace has officially signed with WWE on a multi-year deal. And we already saw this coming from a mile away. Ben and I, we've been talking about it for weeks, for years, here on the We Are Wrestling Podcast, which you can check out every Wednesday live, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Man, Jordynne Grace, I am so happy for her. She's been somebody who has been loyal to TNA Wrestling, and they always say timing is everything, and it felt like the time right now is perfect for her to go to WWE. She's just going to add to an even more stacked women's division, and she has dominated TNA Wrestling for years, and I think that she's outgrown them, and I feel like going to WWE now, this is also going to continue to get more eyes on TNA Wrestling, because that's where she came from. And a lot of the times, when it comes to like independent wrestling, for me, seeing guys who start off and they bust their ass in the independents and then eventually they get signed to a WWE contract, Carmelo Hayes, or get signed to an AEW contract, Darby Allin, MJF. Everybody loves an underdog story, and man, Jordynne Grace, she did everything she could in TNA Wrestling, accomplished everything. I can see her being a future TNA Hall of Famer. She really put the knockouts on the map, in my opinion. And I think that she is destined for great things in WWE. She's going to be winning world championships. She's going to be winning Rumbles, Money in the Banks, main eventing WrestleMania, maybe. I think that she has all the potential in the world, and she really stands out. So I'm very happy for her. She deserves the bag and deserves to be showcased in front of a bigger, wider audience. So I am very curious to see where she's going to start off, if they're going to have her just show up in the Royal Rumble, and then she goes to Raw or SmackDown, or even they could send her to NXT, and she can go on a great run over there. So I am very excited to see what's going to happen there. It's just a matter of time, and congratulations to Jordynne Grace on getting that contract, because it's absolutely well-deserved, and she handled herself in TNA like a pro, and she belongs to be with the pros. So I'm very happy for her. But guys, just a quick reminder that tomorrow the Monday Night Raw reactions will be coming out. Wednesday, live episode of the We Are Wrestling Podcast. That will be our WWE Royal Rumble predictions. And then we're going to be doing a whole Royal Rumble pool. Cam and I are going to be picking who we think is going to be 1 to 30 men and women. And whoever has the better pool wins. The loser will have to do some type of forfeit next week. We'll probably record that as a YouTube short. And then on Friday, we'll be doing our Ultimate Fan Royal Rumble drawing, which we're going to be putting 30 numbers in a bingo cage. 30 of the biggest We Are Wrestling fans are going to be a part of this, and I believe right now there are still some spots open. So if you do want to be a part of that, comment down below why you should be in that top 30, and you can have a chance at winning some really cool prizes. But you do have to leave your @ for Instagram at the end of like your reasoning But if you guys enjoyed this extra, make sure to smash that like button now. If you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already and you're listening to this extra, give us a 5-star review, not just any review, a best one review, and download the episode and give us a follow. If you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already over on the YouTube channel, recommend you guys to hit that subscribe button now, turn on the post notifications, because it's Rumble Week, and we got lots of awesome content coming out of nowhere, like an RKO, and we might even have some more extras if we continue to get big news throughout the week. The link's down in the description below. You can go follow We Are Wrestling over on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. All the links are down below. If you want to get yourself some We Are Wrestling merch, you can go to ProWrestlingTees.com. We have a new Royal Rumble shirt that is out right now, limited edition. Won't be up there for that long. And, of course, to all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide, we are taking over. Peace.
We are Wrestling Extra.